Welcome to the Survivor to Thriver show with your happiness expert, Samia Bano. Are you living with a sense of suffering, feeling stuck, silent, and stressed all the time? Then you are in the right place, because this is the podcast people from all over the world join in to learn exactly how to stop suffering and start living with inner peace and joy. Let's get started. So I was having a chat with my heart about what we should talk about for today's episode. And my heart said to me, we should share how you are still struggling with love. I was like, what? I'm not struggling with love. What are you talking about? I'm doing great when it comes to love. I mean, I love myself and I love others. And I'm even doing a whole lot better than I used to when it comes to being loved. My heart says, well, all that's true, but then why are you struggling with the scarcity mindset? I was like, what are you talking about, heart? What does me struggling with the scarcity mindset have to do with love? I'm doing great with love. And my heart says, actually, you don't trust enough. I was like, what? What are you talking about? What do I not trust? I've become really good with trusting. I mean, I trust myself now. I'm even doing really well with trusting others. What are you talking about? It's like, well, what about trusting the whole? The universe, trusting God, that everything that you will need will be provided for. I was like, I guess you have a point. I mean, if I had a truly deep trust in the knowing that this is a universe of abundance, I wouldn't be struggling with a scarcity mindset. Oh dear, I never quite, well, okay, but wait, so my trust is a little shaky in this regard, but what does it have to do with love? You said we have to talk about how I'm struggling with love. And so my heart says, yes, of course, because our trust is built on the foundation of love. Therefore, if you're shaky in your trust, it's because you need to deepen your love. Because remember, love is an experience of oneness. And the deeper your experience of love, of oneness with another, the more deeply you are able to understand the other's perspective and relate to them. The more deeply you're able to understand and relate to them, the better you are able to trust them. So that's true. That's very true. Okay, all right. So we need to deepen our experience of love. You know what? Hey, this is a great problem to have. It really is. Because on the other side of this problem lies the opportunity of my experiencing even deeper love and getting rid of my scarcity mindset to boot. Woohoo! So I'm excited about this challenge. This is awesome. So let's talk about some actions. What are some action steps that I can take to deepen my experience of love? Love with the whole, love with this universe, love with God. And my heart gave me 2 things to do. Number 1, take regular walks in the park. And number 2, when I go for my regular walks to the park, I need to be going to some specific parks that I know, where when we go there, besides all the beauty that I experience, the abundance that I connect with, the abundance that is in the universe, in our world, we also see something else. I should say many someone's, people who are homeless. And they're hanging out in the park. It's like, pay attention to them. So when you go to the park, of course you want to connect with nature more deeply, so that we can experience the abundance that is present in our world in that context. But at the same time, pay attention to these homeless people. And allow this awareness of who they are and the circumstances that surround them to sharpen your own sense of everything that you do have, of the abundance that is already present in your life. See, and then do this again and again and again and again, and you have to do this on a regular basis. Because we already have the awareness that this is a universe of abundance. At least that awareness is present in my heart. But when it comes to my mind is still in the grips of the old programming. It's not as yet free of some of the faulty beliefs that we had developed in the last so many years of our life, that led us, the beliefs that say this is a universe of scarcity. Those faulty beliefs are still in our mind, you see, and therefore they can be triggered and throw us back into a reaction mode. You see, it's sort of like, I was reminded of this teaching of the difference between what we call transformational awareness and the transformational process. See, transformational awareness is when you become aware of new way of thinking, being, doing, even feeling things that you may not have been aware of before. Hence the transformational part, right? It's a transformational awareness. So when I first learned to connect with my heart, and my heart revealed to me or helped me to see how this was really a universe of abundance, that was a moment of transformational awareness. And transformational awareness happens pretty instantaneously. The analogy of transformational awareness is sort of like, imagine you've been in a dark room and suddenly someone throws open the windows in the room and a whole bunch of light just comes pouring in. And in that instance, when the windows are opened and the light starts to pour in, whoa, there has been a transformational change. You have shifted out of darkness into light. And there is a vast difference between the experience of being in the dark and being in the light, right? So transformational awareness is that kind of instantaneous change in our awareness. And this is like a beautiful thing. It's like, it can be awesomely impactful, okay? But at the same time, there is also something else. There is the transformational process. Okay? Now the transformational process is, let me describe it by sticking with this analogy. Okay, so the analogy, remember, is that, okay, you were in this dark room and now suddenly you're in the light because somebody's thrown open the windows. Now imagine, what if you were in that dark room for a very, very long time? Such a long time that you got used to being in the dark. And while you were in the dark, I mean, obviously, you had to figure out ways to get by, to survive. And you did. So now you're used to these ways of being, of doing things. And they work for you, at least to the extent that they've helped you to survive all this time in the darkness. And so, you have a sense of, okay, I know what to do, I know how to do it, and I know that it works to help me survive. So, you're sort of like in your comfort zone. But now you're in the light, and you have new possibilities of how you can do things. Possibilities that were not present when you were still in the dark. But how many of us would be immediately willing or able to begin to do things in the different ways that we can when we are in the light? It may, even if you have the awareness of what are the different ways that you can act in the light, it may still take some time for you to adjust to the light and to living in the light, to doing things in the different ways that they can be done when you're in the light. And while you're going through this adjustment phase, you may experience a sense of struggle, right? And as you're experiencing this sense of struggle, there will be frustrations, it can cause some stress, and it can make you tempted to revert back to your old ways of doing things that you had got comfortable with. Because we are creatures that like our comfort zones. So my heart said, you know what, Samia, right now you're going through the transformational process. And so the struggle you're experiencing is that struggle. So all we have to do is we have to stay committed to the process, to engaging with this transformational process. And very soon we will have come over on the other side of the learning curve. so that we'll find ourselves in a new comfort zone of living from a place of transformational awareness, that this is a universe of abundance. It's like, all right, this is cool. I can get behind overcoming this challenge because the rewards of it are so massive. I'm excited and I'm up for it. Now, the question is, what about you? What are you struggling with? And whatever it is that you are struggling with, have you already experienced the transformational awareness that you need to? And maybe now the struggle is just the time it's taking to adjust to the transformational process. Or are you still in the dark? Are you still not even aware of what other possibilities exist for you? What other ways you can use to deal with the problems and the challenges that you're struggling with? So that's something for you to think about. And I will go ahead and wrap up right here for today as you think about that. And if you thought today's episode was something that was helpful for you, please go on iTunes and leave the show a 5-star rating so that others can also find it more easily and benefit from it in the ways that you're benefiting. So please go ahead and do that. And in the meanwhile, I wish you lots of peace and joy.